Hi there, my name is Ann Williams Sweeney, and I want to invite you into my home today and to briefly share with you my story of how Yamoa powder has literally saved my life. I never expected to develop asthma. I never thought I had allergies, but for many years I was going to an allergist. I was taking allergy shots and paying for them myself because I didn't have insurance that covered that. I was also using a rescue inhaler, Ventolin Rotacaps, because all of the inhalers that the doctors had put me on, the steroidal inhalers, just made the asthma worse. And I want to show you the very last container that I have of Ventolin Rotacaps. There are two left in here that I have kept as a souvenir to remind me of where I was and how far I have come, where I don't need anything any longer. And that's strictly because of Yamoa powder. This container is dated July 2002. That is how long it's been since I even had to fill this prescription. Now, at the time that I found out about Yamoa powder, I was actually taking an emergency inhaler, one of these Ventolin Rotacaps, 3 times a day. The allergist told me at that point that I fit the profile for someone who would die of a sudden asthma attack. You know that feeling. Your story is probably very much like mine, but that feeling of someone sitting on your chest, that feeling that no matter what you do, you can't breathe, and the whole panic that comes over you. So when I learned about Yamoa powder through Dr. David Williams, he's a physician here in the United States that has a newsletter. He goes around the world looking for things that he hears about, natural remedies and things, and he takes them back to his laboratory in Houston, Texas, and he examines them. They experiment and they find out what works, what doesn't, and why. Well, he wrote about Yamoa powder and how people were having miraculous results with it after just, some as soon as 30 days or 60 days, and no longer having asthma or allergies. Now, my question was probably the same as yours. Well, if this is so great, why aren't we hearing about it? Why aren't we finding it in all the stores, especially the health food stores? Well, I tracked down Yamoa powder in England through Tanya Whedon, and I ordered it, and I used it. And I can tell you why you're not hearing about it everywhere and why it's not all in all of the stores. It's because it actually works. And because people who experience asthma and expect to be on allergy shots for many, many years, like I was, or expect to be on medications and steroidal inhalers for the rest of their life, once they start taking Yamoa powder, that's it. You don't need the other medications, at least I didn't, and most people don't need to stay on Yamoa powder either. Maybe a month, maybe 2 months, for you maybe 3 months. Everyone that I know, everyone that I have recommended this to, has not really needed to use it after maybe 2 months. It's miraculous, and this is why there's not a market for it as far as drug companies are concerned, and as far as corporations who would want to patent it, which they can't do because it's a natural product. They can't depend on people needing to buy it for the rest of their lives. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Isn't that a great gift? Isn't that a miracle? What it does pose, though, is a great problem for Yamoa powder because it eliminates the need for all these other medications and for all of those doctor appointments. I spent a fortune out of my own pocket on allergies and asthma appointments and medications, and I don't have to do that anymore. I like to keep a stock of 1 or 2 containers of Yamoa powder in my kitchen cabinet along with some local honey because I recommend it to people all the time. Once in a blue moon, if I'm petting somebody else's cat or dog and then I touch my eyes, I start to feel a little bit stuffed up. But I've never had the asthma feeling again. But all I do is I take 1/4 teaspoon of Yamoa powder in with the natural honey, the local honey, from bees that feed on my lawn here in Maine, and I'm fine. It's a wonderful product. but it does pose a threat to all those people who make money on other things. So what needs to happen now for Yamoa powder, and the reason why I'm talking to you today, there is a way that Yamoa powder can be scientifically and impartially studied, and all of the attributes of Yamoa powder can be put into an international online databases where healthcare practitioners and licensed herbalists and so on would be able to go and access this information about Yamoa powder. What constitutes it? What are the chemical properties? Are there any contraindications? Are there any side effects? Are there any medications that you shouldn't be taking when you're taking Yamoa powder? What this will do is it will make it possible for healthcare professionals around the world to be able to tell their patients about Yamoa powder, to help them with it, to be able to say, oh yes, you can take that. It's a wonderful thing. And this is the good news. They're almost there with the amount of money that is needed to do this project. It's through a corporation in Boston, Massachusetts. We only need $4,500 more in order to do this testing, and it's called a professional monograph that Yamoa powder will need to have. Once it has that, then it will be much easier for the medical community and the scientific community to understand it and to be able to share that information with people. And it will be a lot less possible for anyone to say, oh, this doesn't work, this is, nonsense, and to be able to take it away from us. So all that they need is that $4,500. It's not a lot of money, but they do need help raising it. Because, as I said before, Yamoa powder doesn't really bring in an awful lot of money for any company because you don't really need to take it that long. But you're cured so quickly. So, won't you join me now? Give whatever you can, $1, $5, $50, whatever you can. Think about how much it means to you to be able to breathe again. How valuable that feels. To be able to take a deep breath, fill your lungs, and not feel or hear any wheezing, not feel that heavy weight on your chest. To be able to go to bed at night and not be afraid that you're going to have an asthma attack in the middle of the night. So please, do what you can. It's so easy. We need to protect Yamoa powder for ourselves, for future generations, for other people who have yet to hear about it. So please, go online to the website, make your donation there, or you can call or email Tanya at yamoapowder.com. That's TANIA at yamoapowder.com. And if you want to talk to me, I am a television host in Boston for PBS, and you can reach me through my Facebook page, Ann Sweeney, Public TV Host. Thanks for listening, and hope you continue to feel better through the use of Yamoa. God bless you.